Why should you be concerned with data privacy? Data privacy is an issue that all of us need to pay close attention to. Lots of information in the press recently, lots of companies that have been affected by that, but let's start with a couple definitions. Data is anything that's on your computer, on your system anywhere. Could be on a hard drive, it could be on a flash drive, it could be on probably someplace you don't even know where is. But it's information that you need to have to access to be able to run your business. I want you to think for just a second, though, about some of the information that you're gathering and how sensitive that might be if it got out to just everybody. So it could be something very specific like a formula, like the Coke formula. You know, that if that had got out, or the Colonel's recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken, if that got out, it'd be bad news for both of those companies. Lots of companies have some secret sauce as well in proprietary processes, procedures, a client list, whatever that may be. And there's some value to their competitors, to other people. But there's a lot of information that you're gathering that you probably don't even really realize that you're gathering that is even more valuable. If you ever take a payment from anyone with a credit card, you've gathered information that's extremely valuable to hackers. And that credit card information contains credit card number, access codes, names, and oftentimes addresses, and maybe even a lot of the demographics necessary to create a false identity. Identity theft is one of the top crimes right now that we face in our country, in fact in the world, and it's big business. It's not run by just a couple of hackers here and there. It's really organized crime that's involved in this. It's big names and big organizations, and it's high profile. We've seen breaches at Target, and we've seen breaches at Home Depot, and breaches in lots of other companies as well. And why did these things happen? It happened because that information's valuable. If they only get $1 off of every name that they got compromised access to, it's a lot of money. So I want you to understand that there is a lot of value. Now, we hear a lot about the big guys that get hacked, the big guys that have their information compromised, but I need you to understand that even small companies are targets nowadays. Lots of small banks and lots of small doctors' offices and lots of small retail businesses that take credit cards are really, really big targets now. These are businesses that a lot of times fly under the radar when it comes to setting up the kinds of security that a big corporation can afford to have. A lot of times the owner is just so busy running the business that they don't really think a whole lot about security, and it's one of those things, I'll just worry about it when I have to worry about it. Well, we can't do that any longer, and let me tell you why. There's some consequences. Examples in healthcare: if you're involved in a data breach where you lose custody of sensitive data, you actually could go to jail. That's pretty severe, pretty scary. Fines can go up to $1.2 million, and I could show you example after example of the government levying those kind of assessments and fines against people. Banks, same situation. There are very, very serious fines, very serious money that can be involved in if you have had that kind of a compromise at your location. Now, what about if you're not a bank and you're not a doctor's office, you're just a small restaurant or retail store? How would you like to not be able to ever take credit cards again? Has that got your attention? Thought it might. That's the consequence of breaching the PCI rules and regulations. The payment card industry, that's what PCI stands for, puts together security regulations. They update it on a regular basis, just came out with 3.0 right now, and there are new security rules and regulations involved in that. And we have to adhere to that, and if we get caught not adhering to that and we have a breach, one of the consequences could be that they just say, you know what, we don't trust you any longer, and you're never going to be allowed to have credit cards ever again. Wow, I think in many cases that would shut a business down permanently. There's another thing too that you need to take into consideration. HIPAA has something that they call the wall of shame. I don't think I would want my name up there, and you probably wouldn't want your name up there either. HIPAA is the regulations that govern healthcare and healthcare information. It's meant to protect our identities and to protect our information, make it so that if we need to get our doctor's records, it's easy for us to do that, and making sure that they stay secure and other people don't get that. Great regulations, great rules. The idea of a wall of shame, pretty scary, because if you have a HIPAA breach, you might wind up on that wall of shame. Think about the embarrassment there if the local paper picks that up, broadcasts that to everybody, and maybe that no one wants to go see you any longer. Also, you look at Target, Sony, and some of these other corporations, how long is it going to be that they're not going to be the subject of videos like this one, where they're used as the example of doing something wrong? You can't afford to allow that to be your business. Your reputation is everything. There are 100 companies, or if not 1,000 companies out there doing exactly the same thing that you're doing, gunning for your customers, gunning for your wallets, gunning for your business. You've got to do everything to make sure that you've got the advantage. You don't need anything working against you. You certainly don't need reputation damage. You don't need to have to overcome the fact that, well, hey, we're not trustworthy enough that you can give us your data and we'll protect it. So what do you do about it? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You need to work with a consultant. IT and computers and security, that's not your strong point. That's not why you went into business. You went into business to cook and sell things, to be a retail dress shop, to work on patients and help them become healthy. Whatever it may be that you are passionate about, that's really what you need to focus on. So you need to work with somebody that is passionate and is trained and is aware of all of these regulations and how we can protect your information so that it doesn't get out. Now, you think, well, I just don't believe I'm a threat. I'm just too small of a business. Nobody would be interested. It might surprise you, but I could show you every time that we put a firewall, even at the smallest business, within an hour or so, there's a tax on that firewall from China. Every firewall that I've ever put out has always had that exact same story. I don't care how small your business is, somebody is actively already trying to get into it. Maybe they already have. You need to make sure that you're protected. You need to make sure that your customers' information is protected. And you need to make sure that your IT is a strategic advantage, not something that's working against you. Privacy is everybody's responsibility, and you don't have the reputation to risk to be able to allow this to be something that damages you in the future.